This is kvci.blogspot.com, George Boston Rhymes in Valdosta, Georgia. Here in the city of Valdosta, Georgia and Lowndes County, we have had 30 deaths in the Valdosta and Lowndes County Jail since 1994 to 2009. 30. Since 2009 to present, we were told by the Lowndes County attorney that they are not subject to the Georgia Open Records Act. Therefore, citizens do not have a right to know how many deaths have occurred in the Lowndes County Jail. The United States Justice Department has been notified continuously and repeatedly. They have been provided with copies of a chorus of fear video done by professors NAACP, SCLC, and concerned citizens here in Valdosta, Georgia, that wanted to bring an end to the deaths and the mistreatment in medical and people in general in the Valdosta and Lowndes County Jail. News media, television, radio has all been notified, but nothing seems to change here in Valdosta, Georgia. This is a court order that was filed in 1989. Judge Hugh Lawson, the Honorable Judge Hugh Lawson, ruled October 26, 1997, that corrections be done. 105 violations were identified, from overcrowdedness, racial segregation, etc., etc., etc. Al Parson of the Lake Park Post did an excellent job on keeping the people informed. Inmates sent letters. We have copies. The late Al Parson that perished gave me a book of complaints, legal papers with names and alleged allegations of what was going on. However, nothing has changed. Just a week ago, I received a call from former inmates and one young man that is scared for his life because of an incident that happened on May 8th, 2010. And so nothing happens in the United States of America. I have made presentations to the Valdosta, Lowndes County governmental bodies, yet nothing changes. I made presentations before Mayor John Freddy, our elected city councilmen, the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners. Many times the People Tribunal has made presentations. Every organization, the citizens of Valdosta and Lowndes County have marched. 2,500 people marched on the Lowndes County Jail when Willie James Williams died on 2 September 1998. But nothing has been done to stop these alleged mistreatment of American citizens. Over and over again, I get calls. The NAACP, Lee Touchton, get calls. SCLC President Floyd E. Rose get calls dating back to 1988 and 89. Yet little to nothing has been done. That man, Al Parson, gave most of his life before he died to bring changes here in Valdosta, yet he was sued out of existence. But somewhere in the United States of America, these two being, Mr. Moore and Al Parson, was sued. They are no longer in town, and yet I keep getting calls. We keep getting calls. We have had court cases, and we've had attorneys, we've had judges. Judge Hugh Lawson ruled back in 1997. They started back in 1988. And yet, even the Justice Department, the governor of the state of Georgia, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General of Georgia have all been notified. All the elected officials, Jack Kingston, Sanford Bishop, and yet nobody will hear the cries of the people in South Georgia and Valdosta and surrounding areas. And so it still continues that people cannot find any relief. And this is in the United States of America. We have notified national, local, and state news media outlets about the conditions. We have had people send their suits that they filed against the jail. We have been notified that there is no end. Just last week, a young lady with sickle cell anemia was not treated properly, and she's afraid to go on camera to make a statement. It just keep going on and on and on. The Justice Department kept asking me, send more information. We would meet at our meetings and we would say, send, let us know what is going on. Judge Hugh Lawson, back in the 90s, found 34 violations under inmate health care, 15 violations under access to court inmates to communicate with their lawyers. Also, they found 11 violations under inmate hygiene, 10 violations under population, 8 violations under visitations, 6 violations under miscellaneous provisions, 8 violations under food, 3 violations under staffing and security, 3 violations under recreation, 2 violations under the commissary and food procedures, 2 violations under environmental control, 2 violations under racial segregation, 1 violation under jail procedures and policies and etc. 1 violation under change provision, 1 violation under Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, and yet, we wrote the District Attorney David Miller. We received no response. We wrote Ms. Crow, the clerk of the court, and we received no response. No response did we receive. And so now it has come to our attention that on May 8th, 2010, that an incident occurred. We have names. We have names of officers. We have names of actual medical staff who knows that an incident took place and that the man is dead. The inmate is dead, we are told. But nothing has been published in the newspapers. Joseph Lowry of the SCLC has been to Valdosta, but the conditions remain the same. Let me repeat, if I had known that the people of America could not get their elected officials to address the concerns of their mothers, of their fathers, and their children here in the United States of America, as a veteran of the United States Armed Forces during the Vietnam era, if I had known Mr. President Bush, former President Bush, and President Barack Obama, to all Secretaries of States that have served this great nation, to all of the retired military veterans and the parents of military veterans, I say to you in truth, if I had known that America would ignore its citizens in the way that is being done, I would never have served in the United States Armed Forces. I repeat, if I had known, and I don't lie to you, I speak truth to power. I have too many children of these inmates. Many are military veterans. And here in Valdosta, Lowndes County are leading the state of Georgia in jail deaths for whatever reason. News peoples in Atlanta, Georgia knows this. Elected officials, the governors, several governors know this. But nothing. CNN know about it. MSNBC knows about it. Al Sharpton been informed about it. Jesse Jackson been informed so many times until it's ridiculous. And yet, nobody seems to care. So I say to you again, I say to you one more time, when will it all end? Why does American citizens in a small metropolitan city in South Georgia, why do they have to live like this? Nobody but nobody. The Justice Department have been sent letters after letters to no end, phone calls, and we've talked, and nothing has been done as far as we know. Locally, very little, if anything, is ever reported by our local TV stations here in South Georgia, the state of Georgia in general. Thank God for the Moultrie Observer. Published my article sometime years ago, in fact, way back in, 2009, about the ill conditions. You want to hear a little bit about that? Okay. A guy wrote in the Times, and he was short in what he said, but I went more into depths, and so I wrote back about what there was no adequate reading material. They can't even read a newspaper. Listen. Here in Valdosta, Georgia, that may be a state law under Governor Deal or Senator Perdue, I'm not sure, but the inmates cannot even read a simple newspaper. Listen, and Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, NAACP, Edward DuBose, my beautiful friend, SCLC, Mostella, but listen, can't even read something as a newspaper. Now, is this in the United States of America, or is this in China or some other third world nation? No jail library was reported. No jail education program. No access to letters, newspapers, on the internet. No photos allowed. No air conditioning in certain areas. They may have fixed that. But the point remains, our governmental bodies could at least, in my most humble opinion, interview somebody, not the ones who come together and talk about they love Dr. King, but I'm talking about the people who the citizens call when they have problems, such as Reverend Rose and myself, or Lee Touchton. I'm going to close this out now. But sooner or later, there are going to be more deaths. And I've asked the Justice Department, and I've asked Sanford Bishop, and I put it before the Justice Department on YouTube. What do they want the people of South Georgia to do to bring about a change here in South Georgia? What must the citizens do? If we go in peace, and if we seek to obey the law, and if we go to those that we have elected into office, and if we march 2,500 strong, no CNN, no major newspapers, no major television stations, no MSNBC, no ABC, no 60 Minutes, and Lord have mercy, 60 Minutes has been notified over and over and over and over and over and over. 48 Hours have been notified over and over and over and over and over. 20 Minutes has been notified over and over and over and over. 20 have been notified so many times over these decades until it's it seems like as if though they have a God on their side that keep people suffering and people continue to die, and the children of these parents can't find any relief, and the veterans, people that have served their country in Vietnam and World War II, and oh, it's a shame before God in the United States of America, and it is so disgraceful. It is disgraceful that nobody will respond to the cries of the people. They come in, let the inmates, interview the inmates and let them talk about when they do an inspection, how they are shut down and only certain parts of the facility is inspected. So Lowndes County and Valdosta has a major problem along with the rest of America because it seems that our rights are slowly vanishing. Pretty soon we will be like China or some other third world nation. And I wonder about the ministers of Jesus Christ. I wonder about the imams in Islam who go to the jail and who go to the prison, but they're too damn afraid. Too afraid, my friends, to tell the truth so people can breathe. So people can breathe. It is a sad, sad day in America. It's a sad, sad day when we stand before our elected officials. Look at all those people at Valdosta City Council meeting, all because they wanted justice and they received none. And so the story goes. And by the way, this was October the 28th, 1998. It lets you know that this has been going on for a long time. But once again, no 60 Minutes, no 48 Hours, no Fox News, no Secretary of State, yet our sons and daughters can die on foreign battlefields, defending the rights of others, while the rights of ordinary American citizens go to hell. There are some people that are incarcerated in the jail that has never even gone to trial, yet they must live in conditions that a Judge Hugh Lawson of the Middle District of Georgia knows that something was wrong, and found 105 violations, gave Lowndes County 2 years to complete and abide by that court order, 89-54-VAL. And yet, when Reverend Floyd Rose of the People's Tribunal wrote, when the president of the NAACP wrote to the district attorney and others, we were told nothing. They wouldn't tell us whoever complied with this court order and consent decree from Judge Hugh Lawson of the Middle District of Georgia. And so today no one knows. Dorothea Patterson was the head plaintiff along with others back in '89. But yet today people are still dying. Let me repeat in closing. 30 deaths, allegedly 30 deaths have taken place from 1994 to 2009. That I can pretty near show you. Some of these people, names I would not publish on the internet because their families are still in law enforcement and they are scared, because that's why the video that VSU and other civil rights organizations put together called a chorus of fear. We are living in fear. Well, many people are living in fear down here. And we talk about, and many of us look to, the United States Justice Department. But when it comes down to our service, to our country, it seems as if though it means little to nothing. Now, I stood before Mayor John Freddy and I presented my case because there are people that are suffering, not just black folk. It's not a black or white thing. It's not just a black thing. But anyway, these are a third of the letters that I received over the years. People wrote me because I had a radio broadcast, and I don't live in fear. Because if I can go and fight and put my life on on the line in foreign countries, I came to a conclusion I sure as hell can stand up on behalf of my own children and my fellow Americans in trying to bring about change in our community. These are letters. Some of them were smuggled out of the jail because they couldn't get them out. They told me about their personal mail being open, which was in Judge Hugh Lawson court order. These are some of the names of the people. I presented this in this list to the elected officials in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. These are the names of the inmates. I did it. They're on the internet, kvci.blogspot.com. They also are on YouTube. So we can only ask today, why is it that our elected officials, why is it that the Georgia Attorney General, why is it that Jack Kingston, Sanford Bishop, and others, why is it that our local newspaper, television stations, radio stations, and the patriots, why is it that they cannot address these issues? Where in the heck is CNN? What good is 60 Minutes? 48 hours? Now look, I presented this picture. This is a sword that was on a white lady leg. She was in the jail. Look at that sore. She had 2 of these bruises. Her mother called me because she didn't know where her daughter was. Later found out that she had been in ICU for 3 days. I took it before Mayor John Freddy, James Wright, Mr. Councilman Yotes, and others on the city council. And they didn't say a single word. They showed no concern, my beautiful brothers and sisters. This was in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Looky here. I showed Valdosta City Mayor, this lady, she was in jail. Her teeth was knocked out, along other things. Her mother called me, didn't know where her mother was. Yet nobody in the United States of America care about anybody anymore. It's a darn shame. Sometimes I understand why people don't vote anymore. The late Al Parson stood up on behalf of these people trying to bring about change, and now nobody's hardly even talking about what's going on in the jail now. All these paper, and this is not all the paper, I just took them out just to show you, let y'all see a little bit of what's been going on over the years. And nothing but nothing. I talked to Al Sharpton. I met with Al Sharpton. That's me and Al Sharpton on MSNBC. Look at that. That's me and Al Sharpton right there. We was in Clayton County in Atlanta. But nothing changed. Nobody seems to care. Now I'm going to close with this. These were people right here that gave so much to bring about change. The black guy, Charles Moore, beautiful brother. He thought, he's a retired military veteran just like me. He had confidence that eventually the government officials, that the elected officials would step up to the plate and show the veterans that they cared about them, because many people in the jail are veterans. Many of the people in prison are veterans. Charles Moore, right there, sued out of existence, out of town, and we still don't believe that we've gotten justice. And so I'm going to do this. We don't know, as Dr. King said, we don't know what will happen now. But there's one thing for sure. There is something in this universe called the goddess of Nemesis. And God eventually will be victorious over the so-called righteous people, righteous folks. And can y'all imagine how many churches we got here in Valdosta? And these cotton-picking ministers of Jesus Christ, Mohammed of Moses, and the son of Amram and Yoshabel of Moses, They just sit and talk about they love God and they love Jesus while people are dying, and people can't, people with sickle cell anemia, people with high blood pressure, people with diabetes can't get their diets, can't get their medicine, can't be shot with their insulin shots like they need. I just received something somebody sent me from New York where people can't even get insulin, and people going in comas, and then the guards think that something is wrong with them, or they are faking. They think they are faking, and so they treat them worse when they start faking. And we know that when you're a diabetic, that's what happens. And I say again, local governments in Valdosta, city and county commissioners has all been notified. Professors at Valdosta State University have done everything that they know to do. Gone to the Attorney General, yet nothing is published about the Valdosta and Lowndes County Jail and the treatment that human beings received in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And so I close by asking you, where is the justice? Lawyers, yeah, that's another thing. Lawyers, I am told that public defenders ain't worth 3 cents. Y'all excuse me for being blunt. But people are hurting here in Valdosta, Georgia, and the state of Georgia. I can only wonder how many more people have died in the Lowndes County Jail here in Valdosta and in other rural areas across the South and maybe around the nation. But nobody seems to care. Yet during election they'll tell us, I care about the people. They lie to us. They lie. They tell us they love the active duty military. They tell us they love military veterans. But if you cannot come to the aid of those who are incarcerated, some of them with mental problems that they received during various wars, and yet when it comes to receiving justice under the law, when it comes to them not staying out there in that jail for 1 year and 2 years, being on probation and pleading guilty, when they stand and cry before the judge because they know they don't have the money to take it to court. And so we fill the prisons and jails with our veterans, and then we hear our politicians lie, and say, we are for the people. Well, Jesus talked about people like that. So anyway, we're going to close this out now. But I want you all to realize one thing. I served my country. And I believe at one time that our elected officials cared about military veterans. I thought we were a country of laws. I thought that there was hope. I thought that if we take things to the news media and if we take things to our newspapers and our radio station, that somebody would have a God-like spirit in them, that they would try and bring the cries of a suffering people to the body of citizens. But that seems to be a pipe dream in 2012. And so I say to you, let us stop fighting in foreign countries and let us begin to fight here in the homeland of the United States of America. We are destroying this country. The Glenn Becks, the Rush Limbaughs, and people of that ilk will talk about our president and call him all these names, all these dirty names. They're setting a precedent in this nation. Black African Americans, beyond question, are some of the best patriots this nation have ever had, even when we didn't have a right to vote, didn't have a right to carry a gun, couldn't even defend our own families. We don't even have our own name. We don't know our connections with the motherland of Africa of our descendants. We were stripped of our name, our God, our religion, brought down and considered 3/5 of a human being. What about obstruction? What do you really have to do for them to charge you with obstruction? What do you have to do?
Touch them. You ain't really got to do nothing. They can just say you did it and you did it. They don't never say and do what they do. They always say what the individual do. They want to make us look bad. They made me look bad for years. I'm still looking bad. My case been ever since 1997 and 2012, and they still using my own record. Because I had obstruction on the probation form. Why? They don't never get to the point of why this person hit an officer, why this person touched off, because they put their hand on you wrong.
And does that ever be published in the paper? They'll show about obstruction, but they don't tell you the circumstance, or do they tell you the circumstance surrounding the situation? It seems like it's kind of one-sided. Am I correct?
It's one-sided. They don't tell you what they do, they just tell you what that we do. Guess what? They'll beat you first and won't video that. But when you beat them, they're going to get the video. That's how they do stuff. They cover up all their tracks. But I'm praying to a higher power greater than myself to restore us back to center. Because I know I'm crazy. I got crazy because all the time I don't need it. I done did locked up time after locked up time. I just left from doing slavery time. In National State Prison, walking up a 58 stairway, living in a dormitory with a bunch of people. They had all these different diseases. They take you to medical don't see about you. They let you go until you get out. You have health problems, not health problems. They don't help you. Health problems, they don't care about you. They tell you quit. When you get in jail, or you in jail now, and now your family can do all you can do, but just sit here and do your time and get out. That ain't the right way to be. It's time for somebody to stand up to these people. Because whoever doing, they doing it well. They can look for you when you selling drugs. They can look for you when you got a probation warrant. People just tired of being on probation. They get you. And what's the baddest part about it, I had a case for a $30 rob. And I wound up my fine is $6,000. Who I owe $6,000 to? I'm giving money to who? It ain't for me. And if I don't pay this money, they put me in jail. I'm sitting out right now. I probably had a little drug, about 2 little bitty pieces of drug. And I'm paying out $7,000 to who and for what? $30 a month probation fee. Report every month. Pee in a cup. I can't remember, I wasn't even dirty when I got locked up. All because I went telling another individual that was selling drugs. They fixed it, but then I got prison time. And I got my time.
Now, I've heard about people squealing on other people and the things that they do to get other people to squeal on others. So you got first-hand experience with that?
Yeah.
So is that true what I hear?
It's true. They want you to tell on somebody.
And if you don't
they'll pay you to tell on somebody. They'll pay, they paying all these people, they taking out the jailhouse. They taking out folks out the jailhouse, taking them around in areas. They threaten their lives. If you don't, let me tell you something, you facing 10 to 15 years right now. You know, anybody you can set up, they wired the lady up. That's how she got me. She had a wire on. The police department wired her up at Valdosta Police Department and brought her to my apartment just to get me for some drugs. They wired this lady with a wire, and I watched the video. I watched this video of this lady in my house, wired for them, wiring her up to get me arrested.
So you telling me that that's what's happening in Valdosta?
That's what they do. They wire people up, the ones they have in jail.
Yeah, but look, you understand that, but look, if you didn't have drugs in your house, they could wire up, wouldn't it happen? So what do you think about that?
What I think about that?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna work that way. They don't do it that way.
Well, what I'm saying, if you don't do drugs, and if they wire a lady up, you still won't be arrested, will you?
No. They'll find something to arrest you for.
They'll find something.
They're going to find something to lock you up for. If it ain't nothing about, they so mad because they didn't get nothing out your house.
Oh, okay.
That they'll plant something in your house.
Wait a minute now. I was stationed here in 75 and I heard they were planting. You mean tell me they'll plant something?
They plant stuff in your house. When they busted my apartment, they say some dope was mine.
Now you got to be careful about talking about people that can't prove it. Now you think you got incidents where you can prove that?
I got incidents.
You got people that would talk who know.
People that know how these folks do folks.
But why?
People around here, they know, but they so scared to talk because they know once we talk, they coming out. Everybody who they see on something, they're going to get rid of you. They don't have to do nothing but lock you back up. They can come get you right now today for an old sale truck. Way back in the day, they say you got it. Shit still have you locked up. That's the type of work they do. They pay people. They ride. They get these girls from these jail houses. They having sex with them.
Wait. What you say now?
They having sex with these girls. They probation officers. A lot of them. Johnny Pickle for one. Wait a minute.
Be careful who you call accused people. You can't.
Johnny Pickle got children from girls that was out here smoking crack. He got kids, white mixed kids, girls right now today. He tried to fill on me. They wanted me to be with him. I told him, I don't care what y'all do, just lock me up. Before I have sex with you, I'd rather go to jail. Take me to jail. So he fixed it. So he told me, you don't give me none, I'm gonna fix it. And he fixed it. Because I wound up doing 2 years in prison. I wound up getting 11 years. Ran concurrent and wound up doing 2 years in prison. I finished my prison sentence. I finished my parole. You know, and everything is just crooked around here. Everything is just crooked.
Okay, once again, what's your name?
Martika's wife.
Okay, and you willing to talk to anybody, I'm sure, right?
Anybody. They tell them that's the way they do it.
Thank you very much. This KVCI.blogspot.com. George Boss Rhymes on the streets, on Troop Street, doing what we do because somebody got to do it. Just that simple. Bye-bye, we're gone.
The night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. A night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. or forever hold your peace. The violence of this beast must cease. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Get up now. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Don't stop. The lion, where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion, where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. A lion, where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion, where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. The violence of this beast must cease. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Get up now. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Don't stop. The lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. A lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah sleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah sleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. The violence of this beast must cease. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Get up now. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Don't stop. The lion, where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. A lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. I see the lion. There's a lion. There's a lion where he's in Judah sleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah sleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. The violence of this beast must cease. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Get up now. There's a lion in Judah. I wonder who will wake him. Don't stop. The lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. A lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a lion where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. The night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a night where he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever